the truth that truly sets us free. With the light that leads the blind to see. Voice of the word, voice for the good, voice of the whole, voice of the voice of the word.
VWTV, ang telebisyon nga may misyon.
Voice of the world, TV.
Pwede mo pag-alis tayo ng oras.
Maupay nga oras sa inyo tanan mga Brother Knights. Again, we are here. I'm Brother Alvin Gonzalez, your State Communications Director, saying maupay nga oras sa inyo tanan. This is a very wonderful day, blessed day for us. And with me is Brad Vic. Brad Vic, could you please say your opening?
Maupay nga oras mga Brother Knights. As usual, alilot kami ng Brother Alvin para ipaabot sa iyo at mga kabaguhan. Labi na nga, tinikangan niya itong Colombian Year 21 and 22. So, adi kami para i-update sa iyo itong mga informasyon nga dapat hibaruan. Labi na atong mga bagong appointed ng mga district deputies. So, man atong mga reappointed ng mga district deputies all over Visayas. Ngahaw, maupay nga oras. And welcome hit aton siyo, the Knights of Columbus Hour.
Thank you very much, Brad Vic. Welcome also to our Knights of Columbus Hour, a weekly live program brought to you by yours truly, Brad Vic and Brad Alvin. Ngayon, before Brad Vic, before we continue with our discussion, please allow me to read again the message of our Visayas State Deputy, Chofredo Lagria, para malaman din nila kung bakit ko pinagyayabang ito.
Okay, Brad,
okay, ito po message ni Visayas State Deputy Brad Chofredo Lagria. It goes this way, Worthy Brother Knights in the Visayas, as we end today the Columbian year 2020 and 2021, may I extend my congratulations to all of you for a job well done. Visayas jurisdiction has again attained the pinnacle for the 8th consecutive years. This performance is the product of your efforts, untiring works, and active participation and dedication for the order. The year that ended was a difficult one because of the pandemic, but it was a remarkable year. Knights of Columbus reached 2 million in membership in more than 17,000 councils worldwide. Our founder, Blessed Michael J. McGivney, was beatified, and we welcome our 14th Supreme Knight, Patrick A. Kelly. These are just some of the many significant events that happened. I know there were also several significant local events that will be worth remembering in your own respective councils. I would like to thank you so much for your continued commitment to the order and the Visayas jurisdiction in particular. As we welcome the new Columbian year, 2021 and 2022, I pray that the Columbianism spirit in us, the members of the order, would not only continue to illuminate, but become more brighter as we reach out to our neighbors. Our previous work were excellent, but in the words of the Supreme Knight Patrick E. Kelly, the best is yet to come. Vivat Jesus! Fraternally, Brother Chofredo B. Lagria, Visayas jurisdiction. So first and foremost, I would like to congratulate all the Brother Knights in the Visayas jurisdiction, in the Western region, Visayas region, Central Visayas region, and the Eastern Visayas region for a team concerted effort.
Job well done.
Job well done, mga Brother Knights. We should be proud of this jurisdiction because we are in the entire worldwide, we are number
7
worldwide. So, we all know na medyo mahirap ang dinaanan natin because of the pandemic and because of these health protocols. Still, we were able to manage to produce, to reactivate to recruit, and to bring in new members in the Night of Columbus. Brad Trepik, you were the past state membership director. What was your really obstacle then during that time?
Actually, Brad, marami. Pero, as I said, because of commitment of everybody, all the three regions, from which Central Visayas, Western Visayas, and Eastern Visayas, because we have worked together, team effort sabi nga, kaya natin nakuha ito.
Yeah, very-
Actually, Brother Alvin, wala namang mahirap, basta tulong-tulong.
Tulong-tulong.
Yan dapat ang itanim natin sa isipan natin, na ang ganitong mga gawain, hindi talaga ito mahirap, basta we are one.
I remember you, Brad, because since the pandemic year, the only way to get in touch with our brother knights in other regions is through cell phone call. Now, we had a tough experience with other brother knights na di rin nabaton. Hindi nila pinapansin yung tawag mo.
Totoo yan, bro.
Pero at least you were able to get in touch with one of the DBs, and then sila na lang ang nag-communicate para sa kanila sa mga ibang district deputy.
So, alam mo yan, Brad, kinukulit ko kasi.
Oo, alam ko yan, Brad.
alam niya na makulit ako.
Oo.
Kaya siguro pag nasobrahan na, kaya sumasagot na rin sila.
Yes. So we also want to Brad, anong catch mo dito, Sabi ni Supreme Knight Patrick E. Kelly, medyo etong the best is yet to come. Medyo this is struck me so much, Tinamaan ako dito. So ang ibig niya sabihin sa palagay ko, the best is yet to come is may tiwala siya sa atin na hihigitan pa natin yung achievement natin last Columbian year compared itong Columbian year na papasok na darating.
Okay.
So, alam niya na kaya natin gampanan, alam niya na kaya natin makuha ulit yung nakuha natin last Columbian year.
Ganito yan, brother, yung
The best is yet to come.
The best is yet to come. Ever since magsimula ang pandemic, alam natin na it's very hard na kita makalabas.
Yes,
sa,
yes.
pag-contact sa mga new members natin. Kahit na ganun ang naging sitwasyon natin, sa first year ko as the membership director, Columbian year 19 and 20, we were able to hit our target. Saka naging pinnacle award tayo.
Yes.
Ngayon naman, 20 and 21, ganun pa rin, nakuha rin natin.
Correct.
Sumubra pa nga, di ba? Last Columbian year, kung di ako nagkamali, is 110 yata, o 13, over 41%. Ngayon, nagkaroon tayo ng 125.33%. So, ibig sabihin yan, Brad, kahit may pandemic, kaya natin gawin ito.
Correct.
So, ngayon pa na mayroon ng vaccine, di ba? Kaya sinasabi niya, kung lahat ang mga brother na lalo na itong mga set officers, mga DMPC, mga district deputies, pag lahat na vaccinated na, pwede na siguro sila makagalaw-galaw. Kaya our new Supreme Knight expecting mas kung nakuha natin last Columbian year, how much for ngayon?
Hihigitan pa natin.
Mahihigitan pa natin. Pero Brad, challenge ito sa atin mga bagong appointed state.
By the way, Brother Nice, ito si Brad Vic, tsaka ako fully vaccinated na po kami. And I want to congratulate Brad Vic for his performance last Columbian year, and really it was so colorful, meaning to say na he was able to achieve all the quotas given by our state deputy, Brad Fred Lagria, and kakukulit niya, kagaya na sinabi niya, kukulit siya, nakuha naman natin lahat yung mga dapat natin ma-achieve, yung mga numbers, kumbaga. And the numbers of new members to be evangelized and evangelized again.
Okay.
Brad Dodoy Sabulaw, also, congratulations that you are now appointed as the new state membership director. So kung ano man yung naririnig mo sa akin, kumuha ka na ng puntos. Nandito pa rin kami, Brad Dodoy, kung whatever problems that may arise during your journey, during your challenges, we are here to help you in any way. Kung ano may naitutulong namin, just call us.
Siguro Brad, kung na-achieve ko ang goal natin. How much for to our brother?
Dodoy sa Bulao.
Siguro, sabi nga, baka mahigitan pa niya. Ano? Kung siguro nakuha natin yung 125%, siguro baka umabot ng more than that.
Yes.
So, Brother Dodoy, ano na, nasa lang kami yung mga try your best, ano, new challenge para kaya mo yan.
Tama. So, congratulations, Brother Knights, to all of our Brother Knights in the Eastern, what I mean is in the Visayas jurisdiction, the Eastern, the Central, and the Western Visayas region for a job well done. And the Pinnacle Award is the biggest award given to a jurisdiction for the 8th consecutive year. Congratulations to all of us.
Brad Alvin, ini nga hinimduman ko. Di relaan Visayas State Jurisdiction, kundi ang upat
Yes.
jurisdiction
Ha,
all
Pilipinas. Oo.
Nakasulodhan Magic 10.
Oh, Magic
Nakasulod.
10. Tama.
Kaya we are very much proud.
Ang Philippines
Pilipinas
is a producer of
Oo.
good Catholic men.
Okay.
So Brad, I know that you will be reading some memo of Brad Fred.
Okay.
Please go ahead on the memos.
Okay, mga brother nights, as we start the new Colombian year, siguro maaram naman kita nga itong Colombian year, may mga bago kitang mga appointed, mga district deputies, mga DMPC, ADMPC nga atong mga state officers. Faktikang ini may kita mga memorandum nga gimpalugsungan aton state deputy para hanya na Colombian year, no? Kay magtitikang naman kita month of July nganda nga itong month of June 2022. So, per issuance sa natin State Deputy and Memorandum number 2021-2022-001 na siring di date July 1, 2021. All Brother Knights in the Visayas from the Visayas Deputy subject Visayas State Officers for Colombian year 2021-2022. The following are the Visayas State Officers for CY 2021 and 22. State Chaplain, Most Reverend Crispin V. Barquez, DD, Bishop of Borongan. State Deputy, Brother Chupredo B. Lagria. State Secretary, Brother Wenceslao Cañete Jr. State Treasurer, Brother Fiel M. Pedrosa. State Advocate, Brother Odilon S. Mamuten. State Warden, Brother Rodante
Dolar. Rodante Dolar.
Rodante B. Dolar. State Executive Secretary,
Yours truly.
Brother P. Lagdao. Our State Auditor, Brother Jose Raul P. Catapes. And immediate past Deputy Brother Anthony P. Nazario. Thank you very much. Signed, Brother Chupredo B. Lagria, Visayas Deputy.
So maliwanag, Brad, there are changes in the state,
May
in
pagbago.
the major state officers of the Visayas jurisdiction, wherein Brad Bick has been appointed as the state executive secretary. I hold that position the last time, Brad, but I could not perform it. So I told Brad, palitan mo na ako. I could hardly handle two jobs at the same time, being the state communication director and the executive secretary. So I gave it up, and then he appointed other Brother Knight.
Okay.
So Brad, congratulations. I know that you will be having a tough task ahead of you. Ito, lahat yan, puro feedback kay Brad yan. Communications, lahat yan. So ano yung isang Brad na ano?
We come now to Memorandum number 2022-002, date July 1, 2021, to all Brother Knights in the Visayas, from Visayas Deputy, subject DMPCs and ADMPCs for Colombian year 2021 and 2022. The following are the diocesan membership and program coordinator, DMPCs, and the assistant diocesan membership and program coordinator, ADMPCs, for Colombian year 21 and 22. We come now to the Archdiocese of Cebu, DMPC, Brother Cipriano M. Laron.
Excuse me, Brad. By the way, for those who do not know about what the DMPC means, it is the
Diocesan.
Membership and Program Coordinator. Pag nakarinig kayo ng ADMPC, ang ibig sabihin, Assistant Diocesan Membership and Program Coordinator. Thank you, Brad. Go ahead.
ADMPC, Jonas C. Archaga for District covered B1 to B6. Emmanuel Ibreon from B8 to B14. Brother Julius Barcelona from B15 to B18. Brother Jose P. Katakis from B19 to B22. Brother Amir Pino Perales from B23 to B26. Brother Carmelino N. Cruz Jr. from B27 to B30. And Brother Catalino B. Amante, B31 to B33. We come now to the Diocese of Talibon.
The all.
Yeah. DMPC is Brother Bernardo C. Pujas.
Okay.
EDMPC, should I say, Alejandro E. Traso, B34 to B40. Militon C. Boyles Jr., B41 to B45. We come now to the Diocese of Tagbilaran. DMPC Brother Glenn P. Pergamino. EDMPC Oscar M. Labastilla, B46 to B50. Brother Miguelito B. Galindez, B51 to B58. We come now to the Diocese of Dumaguete. DMPC Brother Angelito T. Nawanaw. ADMPC Jose Ando, B59 to B60. Roberto Laquinon, B61 to B64. We come now to Palo and Nabal. The Archdiocese of Palo and Nabal, should I say. DMPC Brother Enerio Sabulao, EDMPC Rosdam Voltaire E. Negros, B65 to B71. Brother Marion is Eslapor, B72 to B79. Brother Romeo P. de la Cruz, B80 to B83. Brother Warlito B. Alagao, B88 to B90. We come now to the Diocese of Maasin. DMPC Brother Victoriano Gloria. No EDMPC. That is B84 to B87.
Kasi konti lang ang councils
Oo.
doon, Brad.
We come now to Catarman. The Diocese of Catarman. DMPC is Brother Rim in Laudinio. EDMPC, Brother Tropimo E. Basibas, B91 to B93 district. Ano mga district itong sinasabi kong mga numbers is this district, Visayas district. And we come now to the diocese, another EDMPC, Brother Lini M. Gibara, B94 to B97. Okay, we come now to the Diocese of Catarman, Calbayog, should I say, Calbayog, the Diocese of Calbayog. DMPC is Brother Jovincio Eclipse. Parang nabago ito dahil si Brad Dumalian dati. EDMPC, Brother Bernardo Sildo of B98 to B103. And Brother Lorenzo B. Maghafo Jr., B104 to B108. Okay, we come now to the Diocese of Borongan. DMPC is Brother Rodrigo E. Siblano. EDMPC Rogelio L. Odivelas, B109 to B1012, to B112. And Brother Rodrigo E. Siblano, B113 to B118. We come now to the Diocese of San Carlos. DMPC is Brother Jobert Galvio. EDMPC Jose in Bakelta, and their district B119 to B120. And Brother Charlie Dalagit of B121 to B127. We come now to the Diocese of Bacolod. And the DMPC is Brother Vicente S. Lota. The EDMPC is Brother Wilbert Solina, and their district B128 to B131. Brother Vincent S. Lota, and their district B132 to B137. We come now to the Diocese of Kabangkalan. DMPC is Brother Anthony M. Magno. No DMPC under District Deputy, under District number 138 to 143. We come now to the Archdiocese of Haro, Iloilo. The DMPC is Brother Antonio S. Bonda. EDMPC is Brother Arden Torabilias of B144 to B145. EDMPC Brother Pedro C. Pili Jr. of B146 to B150. Another EDMPC is Brother Nelson G. Lopez under B151 to B156. Another EDMPC is Brother Francisco Castiti under B157 to B159. Another one is Brother Rinaldo M. Puentebella, B160 to B167. And the last one is Brother Samuel G. Saul of B168 to B172. We come now to the Archdiocese of Capiz under DMPC Brother Pridi D. Dalo. EDMPC is Brother Victor Dangan. District number is 173 to B District 178. And other one is Brother Bito Ki Navarra of District B179 to B183. We come now to the Diocese of Aklan under DMPC Brother Walter R. Mendoza. No ADMPC. District number 184 to 188. And we come now to the last, the Diocese of San Jose Antique under DMPC Virgilio Q. Sanchez. No ADMPC under District 189 to 190. Well, nights, everyone are enjoying to extend your usual cooperation and courtesy to the above listed officer. Thank you very much. Signed, Brother Chopedo B. Lagria, Visayas Deputy. Thank
So
you.
there are just few changes, ano, Brad? Marami rin ng changes, kumbaga. Kasi I'm hearing some of them are former state officers, yung dyan sa west, sa Iloilo area. Mga state officers yung mga DMPC at DMPC. Well, yung isang babasahin mong memo, Brad, what are those? Mga state?
Mga state directors and chairman, sir.
Okay, sige, go ahead, Brad. Ituloy mo na lang. Ituloy mo na lang dyan.
So, mga Brother Knights, ang ikatulong nga memorandum, nga aton liwat na babasahin niya na para initiho baro ano kay para makungadir nga eager ka mo baro aton new set up yana nga Colombian year 21 and 22. We come now to memorandum number 21-2022-003. Date July 1, 2021. All Brother Knights in the Visayas from the Visayas Deputy subject state directors and chairman for Colombian year 2021 and 2022. The following are the state directors and chairmen of the different services area for Colombian year 21 and 22. Membership Director, Brother Inerio M. Sabulao. Program Director, Brother Glenn P. Pergamino. Pit Director, Brother Elpidio M. Cabacaba. Community Director, Brother Cipriano M. Lauron. Life Director, Brother Rodrigo Isiblano. Family Director, Brother Augusto B. Pascual. Youth Director, Brother Rin In Laudino. Ceremonial Director, Brother Anthony P. Nazario. Awards, Reports, Form Directors. Awards and Form Report Directors, Brother Noine Is de Pomosino. Vocation Chairman, Reverend Father Romeo C. Solidon. New Council Development Chairman, Rinaldo M. Puentebella. Round Table Chairman, Tom L. Dumalian. Esquire Chairman, Almar D. Posa. Public Relations Chairman, Brother Alvin D. Gonzales. Narito ngayon. Kasama ko. Newsletter and Bulletin Editor, Brother Nestor L. Brimatia. Insurance Promotion Chairman, Rosdam Volter A. Negros. Council Reactivation Chairman, Danilo L. Martinez. Dati itong Membership Director, Brad, si Dapra Dani. Council Retention Chairman, Brother Manuel R. Bagaindo. Membership Retention Chairman, Brother Vicente M. Cotza. Online Member Chairman, Brother Florencio E. Coso. Sa top ito, Brad. From top.
Okay.
Health Service Chairman, Brother Bernardo Torres III.
Dati pa rin. No?
McGivney Gill Chairman, Brother Nelson J. Lopez.
Iba na.
Pilgrim Icon Chairman, Brother Roberto D. Aterado III. Youth Audit Outreach Chairman, Brother Julius B. Avila. Selberos Chairman.
Abela, Brad.
Avila.
Iba yan, ah.
Selberos Chairman, Brother Ambrosio B. Ho Jr. Special Olympic Chairman, Brother Jesus C. De La Peña. Athletic Events Chairman, Brother Bernardo Celdo. Pre-Throw Chairman, Bernardo C. Pujas. Soccer Challenge Chairman, Brother Amerpino E. Perales. Catholic Citizen and AC Contest Chairman, Brother Emmanuel E. Brion. Campaign for People with Intellectual Disabilities Chairman, Brother Ramon E. Aguilar. College Council Coordinator, Brother Kenneth C. Rivera. Disaster Response Coordinator, Brother Arturo M. Guarnes. Everyone are enjoined to extend your usual cooperation and courtesy to the above listed officer. Thank you very much. Signed, Brother Chapido B. Lagria, Visayas, David.
So maliwanag, Brad, na the state officers has been distributed to the 3 regions. Yung iba sa taga Iloilo, and then yung iba from Cebu, and then yung iba dito sa atin. So it was a good distribution of responsibilities to state officers.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Brad Vic, for that memo from Brad Fred. I'll also read an advisory membership from our newly appointed membership director. So, membership advisory, July 3, 2021 and 2022, 01. To all DMPCs and ADMPCs, DDs, and Grand Knights, subject continuing conduct of first-degree exemplification. When? Now. Sabi niya ganun. Without waiting for the council installation of officers and district deputies organizational meeting, all re-elected and newly elected Grand Knights can now start preparations, scheduling, and conduct of first-degree exemplifications for new members. This will strengthen and improve sustainability in our order. Just strictly observe health protocols, social distancing, wear face mask and face shield, and the district deputies or Grand Knights should request from our parish priest permission to use the church or chapels as exemplification venues. Thanks, Brother Dodoy M. Sabulaw, Visayas Membership Director. Mukhang may problema rito sa pag yung simbahan ng gagamitin, kasi open.
Hindi pwede yan, Brad.
Open space. Kasi
space
ang exemplification ceremonials is a secret ceremonials na hindi pwedeng makita ng ibang tao except yung mga officers and new members to be exemplified. So perhaps within the vicinity of the church there might be a secured enclosure, yung hindi nakikita o room na private room na pwede kayo lang nandun. So it's much easier actually to exemplify now is because ang ginagamit namin is through video exemplification. So yung video
ceremonial natin.
Ceremonial. So it's much easier na wala na masyadong tao yung mga exemplification team, and it's easier for us to conduct exemplifications. Well, so Brother Knights, Grand Knights, especially those newly elected, you could, with the permission of the Visayas Membership Director, pwede na raw kayong mag-umpisang mag-exemplify kahit na hindi pa kayo na-install. So, Brad Vic, come on, go on your next memo.
Kasi baka meron ng counter kasi dyan.
Sige lang.
May dapat kita last nga memorandum nga babasahan ko para labi na nga rin aton mga DMPC, mga EDMPC, mga newly appointed district deputies, of course nga na aton mga Grand Knights and tagsa-tagsa council. Pamatiin niyo kay importante ini para sa iyo, ano, para mabaroan niyo. Ini nga akong pagbasa, address nga tanan ng Bugos ka Visayas, nga tanan mga councils, mga district deputy, DMPC nga ADMPC. Memorandum number 2021-2022-004. Date July 1, 2021. Subject: DMPCs, ADMPCs, District Deputy, and Grand Knight. From Visayas Deputy. Subject: installation of council officers. All district deputies are enjoined to comply with the following instruction regarding the above subject. Number 1, submission of Form 185 and 365 signifies the official communication to the Supreme Council of the current council officers and service personnel. As such, district deputies should collect Form 185 and 365 prior to the installation of council officers. No council installation should be conducted if these forms are not submitted yet. Tagam na niyo mong Brother Knights, ano, kunwari pa kayo makapag-submit haniyo Form 185 and list of chosen officers, nganhan Form 365, waray pa kita pwede makapag-install mga officers. Number 2, kasi hindi nga, reappointed district deputies, ang mga na-reappoint nga, ano, may daman siguro nakuha, pero may naman na-reappoint. Reappointed district deputies may conduct installation of council officers in the respective district prior to the district organizational meeting, which is slated on July 24, 2021. First-year district deputies are not authorized to conduct council installation until after they are themselves installed during the DDS organizational meeting.
Okay, maliwanag.
Maliwanag. Tigam na niyo mga district deputy, ano mga Grand Knight. And we come now to the number 3. District meeting shall only be conducted after a district organizational meeting, irrespective if the district deputy is reappointed or new. This is in order that the new quotas, criteria, and policies and program of the Supreme Council, which will be discussed during the DDS organizational meeting, will be properly disseminated during the district meeting. For dissemination and strict compliance, thank you very much. Signed, Brother Teofilo B. Lagria, Visayas State Deputy.
Okay, thank you very much, Brad. Brad, we are going to insert a video clip after this one. So, since this video clip ay medyo mahaba-haba ito. So, let's pave way for this video clip. So, magpapaalam muna tayo, Brad, para ipakita sa kanila itong video clip. Okay, paalam ka muna, Brad.
Okay, mga Brother Knights, naglalawang kami nga atong akong gimbasa yan ang mga upat nga may memorandum nga igimpalosaran aton State Deputy, iyo naklaruhan nga siguro may ihapag kaya na labi na aton mga reappointed district deputy, sugar man aton mga new appointed district deputy nga tika naging Grand Knight, siguro kinarawat na niyo yung mga letters, mga invitation letters para hindi nga bubuhaton natin nga district organizational meeting yan ang madaraon nga July 24. So hayo ta na mga Brother Knights, hindi nga naglalaom kami nga iyo na intindihan, nga iyo na sayuran, hindi nga tanan nga amon iging paparo iyo. Once again nasin kami nga damong salamat tan iyo padayon nga pamati nga nasin kami maupay nga oras nga ngahaw kayo tanan.
Thank you very much, Brother Vic. Well, Brother Knights, we are going to cut ang presence namin ni Brad Vic dito just to pave way for a video clip that we're going to show you. Let us pray for one another so that God will give us all the help we need. Let us pray for our Bishop Crispin Barquez and our State Deputy Visayas Jurisdiction, Fred Lagria, so that God will always guide them. Brother Knights, still we're on a pandemic. Paghinay kita, paghirot, always wear your face mask and social distancing. and always remember that God will always be with us. This is your brother Alvin Gonzalez saying, Vivat Jesus, see you next week. Bye.
The support of the Knights of Columbus for the armed forces is legendary. Many of the men who founded the Knights of Columbus were veterans of the American Civil War. Since our founding in 1882, Brother Knights have served on the front lines in every war. These men understood the importance of brotherhood, the strength in unity, and the virtue of self-sacrifice. Our support for them has never wavered, because there is a natural affinity between the virtues of military service and the principles of the Knights of Columbus. The values of brotherhood and unity are obvious, and what greater charity can there be than to be willing to lay down one's life for one's companions and one's country? These are values we cherish in the title Knights, and why patriotism is so important to the Knights of Columbus. At the same time, our Catholic faith brings an important and irreplaceable dimension to military service. In addition to the sense of self-sacrifice, our faith brings a spiritual strength and a moral compass to military service that is absolutely necessary. From a Christian perspective, we see military service, properly understood, to be a vocation requiring a deep spiritual and moral commitment. And we see patriotism not as some kind of supranationalism, but as tempered by our principles of charity, unity, and fraternity. Our Christian patriotism recognizes and respects the other's love of country. And that is why, for the Knights of Columbus, our principle of patriotism applies so well in all the different countries in which we are active.
In 1865, the Civil War mercifully comes to an end. Many Union soldiers return home after spending years on the front lines. The transition is jarring and leaves them longing for the brotherhood and camaraderie they experienced in battle.
Many of the men who founded the Knights of Columbus were veterans of the Civil War. They were men who cherished the values of brotherhood, values that had helped them survive the darkest days of that terrible conflict. They knew that if the nation, once divided, was to emerge stronger, it would have to discover a new sense of brotherhood that could cross the color line of blue and gray and bring the country back together. Father Michael McGivney believed that the Catholics who had made such a contribution during the war could also make a unique contribution to the peace. He proposed a fraternal Catholic brotherhood based upon charity and unity, and this gives birth to the Knights of Columbus in 1882. Fittingly, within a short period of time, patriotism is added as another pillar of the order.
But a new challenge soon faces Catholics in America. When the United States declares war on Germany in 1917, the Knights' claim to patriotism is seriously put to the test.
The Germans are clearly the enemy. There are a lot of German Catholics, and so there's a lot of suspicion about their loyalty. We're fighting on the side of England. Well, England is the enemy of Ireland at that time, and so there's this question of whether the Irish in America are really interested in fighting to save the English. Well, what the Knights do, they come along and they create these hospitality huts and recreation centers, and their motto was, everybody welcome, everything free. But it was not for Catholics, it was for everybody.
The KFC huts were, in fact, rather substantial facilities where servicemen were welcome when they had time for rest and relaxation. While other organizations operated similar facilities, what was different about the Knights of Columbus is that when we said everybody was welcome, we really meant everybody. We were the only organization that welcomed everyone regardless of race or religion, and that especially included African Americans at a time when the U.S. Army was officially segregated. 30 years before the U.S. Army integrated, we were integrating the Army. There was also an overwhelming need for chaplains during the war. In response, the Knights assisted Catholic military chaplains and provided additional chaplains of our own. These KFC chaplains served courageously at the front lines of the war, administering the sacraments and serving the spiritual needs of our soldiers. And the KFC administrators of our huts, known throughout the military as KCs, also did tremendous work. They too were often on the front lines, offering food and other assistance directly to the troops.
After the war, the Knights' service to our troops continues. The Order's wartime efforts are redirected to establish a tuition-free education and job placement program that provides employment for more than 300,000 veterans. The support provided to the war effort creates enormous goodwill for the Order. Between 1917 and 1923, some 400,000 men joined the Knights, doubling the pre-war membership.
During the Second World War, Brother Knights once again rallied to the support of their brothers in arms. We launched the first nationwide blood drives, raised millions of dollars selling war bonds, and the Knights in Canada sponsored a KC Huts program for Commonwealth troops, very similar to that during the First World War. We all owe a debt of gratitude to the members of that greatest generation, those who work behind the scenes, and those who put everything on the line for freedom.
My name is Frank DeVita. I'm a 4th degree Knight. On D-Day, I had just turned 19. At 4 o'clock in the morning, we headed towards the beach. Now, my job was to drop the ramp. I dropped the ramp, and the machine guns came into my boat. It killed probably 13 or 14 guys. But most of the kids on my watch, 18, 19, 20 years old, they were too young to drink. They were too young to vote, but they weren't too young to die. At the end of the day, we had 2,000 dead on the beach. The first wave, we had 95% casualties. Why one of them didn't hit me? Killed the guy next to me. Killed the guy next to me. Killed the guy in front of me. God was watching over me. People think I'm a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm a survivor. I'm a religious person. I believe in God. I pray every morning and I pray every night. I decided I was going to join the Knights of Columbus. It was the best decision I ever made. We help people. We feed the poor. You get close to the other Knights and they become your brothers. In the service, they were my brothers. In the Knights, they're my brothers.
In his inaugural address, President John F. Kennedy had said, "We were engaged in a twilight struggle against tyranny and the enemies of humankind." Many had thought that with the end of the Cold War, we had entered a new era. But on 9/11, we saw that this struggle was not over. We now faced a new enemy, a new form of tyranny, and unprecedented challenges. And while much had changed, the need for a sure moral compass, for spiritual strength and material support had not changed. Even as the rescue efforts at Ground Zero shifted to the grim task of recovery, we began planning how the Knights of Columbus would make a unique and vital contribution to support those fighting the new war on terror.
9/11 placed demands on the armed forces, but as 9/11 hit, America had a surge of patriotism, and I think the Knights of Columbus really showed even greater support to the armed forces.
One of our first initiatives was joining with the Archdiocese for the Military Services to publish Armed with the Faith, a new Catholic prayer book. We have given more than 600,000 copies of this prayer book to U.S. troops stationed in Iraq and Afghanistan and on military bases in the United States and throughout the world.
The Armed with Faith, a prayer booklet, originated in my council. We had an older knight by the name of Franklin Woodbury. Frank had been a Korean War veteran, and during the Korean War, there was this little prayer book that they had, and there had been no real Catholic prayer book produced since the Korean War. So he mailed that prayer book to the Supreme Knight and said, can the Knights of Columbus develop a prayer book? So the Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, said, absolutely, we can do this, and we will do this.
The Knights of Columbus are really the motor behind the Armed with the Faith prayer book. The Knights published it, the Knights pay for its distribution, and they designed it so that it would fit right in the pants pocket of a combat uniform. And it's very durable. It's on a paper that is extremely hard to damage or to rip. It's a tremendous asset, and it is very much appreciated.
The Armed with the Faith prayer book is truly like a modern-day GPS system in a spiritual sense, that it helps guide our decision-making, but also as a focus of prayer and unity and fraternity when we do gather.
When my son and I went into combat, the prayer book was always there. The bottom line is, you rely in combat on many things. Yes, your tactical abilities are important. You rely on your friends. You rely on your faith. That prayer book is just one more element of faith that I came to rely on.
The need for prayer in conflict is probably obvious, but in mortal combat, that need to reach out to one's faith, to one's spiritual underpinning becomes even more critical. And it may just be a simple prayer, God protect me, or it may be the prayer of St. Michael, defend me in battle. This is that human need for that spiritual protection in a time of mortal conflict.
9/11 happened, and I went right away to the desert, and to know that the Knights were, as a patriotic Catholic organization, they were supporting us, praying for us, sending us those prayer booklets, Armed with the Faith, which were the hottest item in the chapel. It's just such a great support to me and to our airmen.
Certainly, when we talk about sacrifice being an element of faith, and we talk about the military, the two really go hand in hand. We recognize that in order to follow a Lord and Savior who paid the price of our redemption on the cross, we also have to be willing to give of ourselves. And certainly the military is a primary example of that self-giving.
Everyone in the military has to come to the realization one day or another that death is not the worst thing that can happen to you. And once you grasp that, it gives you a great liberty. When you encounter these acts of bravery on their part, you'll find that they will say, it wasn't a big deal. Anyone would do this for me if he had the chance. That sense of loyalty to one another, that sense of fraternity.
Tragically, other Brother Knights have given the last full measure of devotion, and I ask you to please join me in standing while the names of those who have made the ultimate sacrifice are read. Army Specialist James Wolfe, Council 2681.
Joining the Knights will be the best day of my life. Jamie and I took our first degrees together. In fact, we have 4 generations of Knights in our council.
He was an engineer in the military because he liked building things for people. He said, Dave, we got a job to do. And we're building all this stuff so that the Iraqi people could have a better future. He truly believed that, and that's what the Knights espouse.
I remember that morning, and they announced that there had been 2 deaths. We didn't blame each other. We didn't You know, we didn't blame the military, we just couldn't, because he was so proud of who and what he was.
Yeah.
We just couldn't take that away from him.
No, that was important to him.
The Knights, I firmly believe, saved my dad because he was able to focus his energy and actually talk about it and get things off his chest and to be comfortable with it because of the Knights of Columbus. And when you can pour your emotions and your work into something that Jamie really believed in.
He was someone that I wanted to model myself after. He was my hero, and that's the most important thing.
It can be very difficult for Catholics in the armed forces when they're on forward deployments. Many go for months in dangerous combat zones without ever seeing a priest and without ever receiving the sacraments. Obviously, the availability of Catholic chaplains is crucial for administering the sacraments and also attending to the moral and emotional injuries sustained in combat. But we have only about a third of the chaplains we need to support our Catholic troops. And so the Knights of Columbus has partnered with the Archdiocese for the Military Services to offer new scholarships to encourage more priests to serve as military chaplains.
The program has really been a godsend for us. It's a tremendous investment in the future. The role that a chaplain plays is the first counselor that a person in the military services has, because he or she knows that in talking to that chaplain, whatever is exchanged goes no further. Chaplain has absolute confidentiality. So that creates a rapport, which we as clergymen hope leads to faith, but it is being there for people in situations of need, and that role can't be replaced.
From the beginning, our armed forces have had chaplains. Even before the Declaration of Independence, the Continental Army and Navy had chaplains. So I can't think of any vocation where you are more thoroughly immersed in the lives of your people. The only difference between you and the rest of them is you don't carry a weapon and shoot at the enemy, but you do everything else they do.
Well, the role of the military chaplain is obviously for Catholics. We're there for the sacraments. But then there's also the relational ministry. Because military people and their families go into harm's way, move into strange, remote locations, I am right there with them. And that brotherhood, that military shared hardship, shared burden, shared sacrifice, danger, those develop. The military member then can relate to his or her chaplain in a way that I think many civilian parishioners and priests don't have.
Chaplains are so important. There's two things that will give a soldier confidence in going into battle. And one of them is, of course, that he knows that there's medical care there for him. And then the second thing is that they've got somebody to take care of their spiritual needs. Faith is the foundation of courage.
In the Marine Corps, Catholic chaplains are revered. For us, the Catholic chaplain is our faith. He brings us our sacraments. He ministers to our men. The chaplain is Christ to the man. For me as the commander, the chaplain provided me that moral foundation for the command.
People don't always understand how much more an individual is empowered when they have something bigger than just themselves to rely on. And that's what military chaplains have done for me. When I was a battalion commander, and I'm going through pre-deployment training, and these two aircraft take off, 11 minutes later, these aircraft have a collision, and all my battalion staff, except two of us, died that night within 50 yards of my aircraft. I got to the mishap site. I saw my battalion staff all perished, all dead, in the CH-46 helicopter, but I also saw with the other 2 Marines that were with me, I saw 2 pilots, unbelievable, but alive. We pulled them out, pulled them away. They both lived. I then stayed at the crash site. I stayed with the remains of my Marines, and the first person that came to site other than Crash Fire Rescue was my battalion chaplain to sit with me and encourage me that it would be okay. That's a tough time. It was a very tough time. The value of military chaplains cannot be understated.
Father Mark Bristol served as a Navy corpsman before answering God's call to priesthood. He is serving as the priest chaplain for the USS Theodore Roosevelt.
My time serving in the Navy, I had the experience where I was not able to receive the sacraments for an extended period of time. And that feeling of being in a spiritual desert, it was a very painful experience for me. And in the midst of that pain, I felt God saying, why don't you be a part of the solution? Entering the seminary was like entering into a new brotherhood. I entered into the brotherhood of the priesthood, of men preparing for the priesthood, and there was a great excitement of being a part of that. I have the great privilege of being a Knight of Columbus, and I was sponsored by the Knights of Columbus during my time in the seminary. They helped pay for my seminary education. They were a source of encouragement for me in my vocation to military chaplaincy and the priesthood. The Knights have 4 virtues: charity, fraternity, unity, and patriotism. And those go hand in hand with the military. The Knights of Columbus was founded to encourage men to join in unity, to stand up for what's good, true, and beautiful in this world. That is the same thing that the military seeks to stand up for as well.
The Knights of Columbus offers men a real spiritual brotherhood through our commitment to charity, unity, and fraternity, and the opportunity to support each other in living the Catholic faith. After 9/11, we enhanced our support of the military by prioritizing the establishment of new councils of military installations, both in the U.S. and overseas. In this way, more of our troops would have not only the Armed with the Faith prayer book, the priestly ministry of our Catholic chaplains, but also the support of their brother knights for themselves and their families. During the War on Terror, we created 4 combat zone roundtables in Afghanistan and Iraq, and today there are 68 active military councils worldwide.
When the Supreme Knight, Carl Anderson, decided to expand the Knights of Columbus in deployed locations, he helped the chaplains expand the possibilities that they have in a deployed location, because a round table or a council offer an opportunity to gather Catholic men in a reflection on their faith and also growth in that faith.
There are various reasons on why I joined the Army. One being both of my grandfathers served, my father served. So I just always felt a sense of duty in serving. I was baptized Catholic. I had a Catholic upbringing. For the first couple of years in the Army, life was very fast-paced, so I kind of by default distanced myself. And then when I got to Fort Bragg, I started looking into volunteering and doing other things outside of the military. And I started realizing that a lot of these events were actually driven by the Knights of Columbus. I could tell you ever since that day, most of the decisions that I've made that have affected my career in a positive way have been influenced by my faith, by the Knights of Columbus, by chaplains, and my family. The role that Catholic chaplains have played in my life, it's a big one. One of the biggest things is confession during the deployments or like wherever we are around the world. Just being able to access the sacrament of confession and having communion and all that, then it's greatly helped me navigate some troubled waters throughout my career.
Being the spouse of someone that is in the military is tough. He's often gone, but it's very rewarding at the same time. He has become a better man. He has become a better husband, a better father, and just overall a better Christian.
Most of the members are stand-up citizens, Catholic men who do the right thing, help others when they're in need. The Knights will enhance your faith, will make you a better man, will make you a better family man, will definitely give you the opportunities to renew your love for Christ, renew your love for the church.
My name is John Marsili. I'm a Catholic Marine Corps veteran, and I'm a member of the Knights of Columbus. I was in the Marine Corps from 2008 to 2012 on active duty. I served in Afghanistan from 2009 to 2010 with the 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines, Gulf Company. I served in the Marine Corps to give back to my country. My job is I was an infantryman. I was a designated marksman within my platoon. When things would get bad, you act instinctively. But then when you get back, you're in your patrol base and you're sitting in your cot, you start to think like, I almost died today. You really start to reflect on your own mortality. So that kind of led me to start learning more about my faith. I started praying my rosary, and it really got the ball rolling. The Knights being a fraternal organization, it was an easy segue from the Brotherhood of the Marine Corps to the Fraternity of the Knights. My faith to me is more than just going to church on Sunday, and the Knights of Columbus give me a way to put my faith into action and to serve my community and to serve my family.
When I was a kid, I was really inspired by the combat service of my father. When the opportunity arose as a B-52 pilot to go overseas, I put my name in the hat as quickly as I could. And it was an incredible experience in taking part in military actions to help the good people of Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan be rid of the threats of ISIS or the Taliban in their particular regions. My grandfather had joined the Knights of Columbus during World War II while he was serving in the Navy. I really took that example to heart. This is an organization for over 100 years that has done so much to help people regardless of their background. While I was deployed to Qatar, I also noticed that there was a great number of care packages that were sent by concerned citizens back home that were going unused. After talking with one of the chaplains, I had the opportunity to work with deployed Knights of Columbus. We gathered all of these products together, just dozens of boxes of canned goods, baby supplies, toys, took that off base to help the hundreds of thousands of migrants in Qatar. I think today more than ever, we need men who are dedicated to charity, unity, fraternity, and patriotism. And I'm proud to be a Knight of Columbus.
The war on terror has presented special demands regarding the spiritual, physical, and moral healing necessary for those who have experienced the trauma of this type of warfare. We've encouraged our brother Knights to participate in the Veterans Administration Volunteer Services Program at VA medical facilities, and many thousands have done so.
Today, Knights of Columbus volunteers are present in close to 100 VA medical centers across the United States. Brother Knights work to combat homelessness among veterans, provide wheelchairs, inpatient care to hospice and aging residents, and most importantly, chaplain services for spiritual sustenance.
In 2014, we began sponsoring the Warriors to Lourdes pilgrimage as part of the annual International Military Pilgrimage. In Lourdes, these warriors are able to experience the healing that only our Lord and our Blessed Mother provide.
Warriors to Lourdes pilgrimage, in conjunction with the International Military Pilgrimage, has become a major program in the healing of our military men and women. War is waged to gain the peace. But to gain the peace, we break things, blow things up, and people die. But lingering is the post-traumatic stress from those injuries, from the stress of combat, from the various feelings that one has. And that's the spiritual support they gain in Lourdes. They go to the arms of the Blessed Mother. In the years that we've been doing Warriors to Lourdes, we have saved lives, we've averted suicide, we have saved marriages, we have helped with the wounds to the soul.
This is a place where peace can be found. And coming here really allowed myself to get a little closer to God.
Ever since becoming Catholic, I heard about Lourdes, and it is an answer to prayers that I was able to come. Whether you're suffering emotionally or physically, you receive God's grace. And I think that's why people are drawn here.
I lived in New York City during 9/11. I was in 4th grade, and I remember thinking, I'm going to join the service because it was the most concrete way to serve. While I was deployed, I was what's called the point man, so I was the first in line on every single patrol. For the first 5 months, I went on every single patrol. I didn't hang back for one of them. It's 4 in the morning, I'm putting my gear on, I'm getting my weapon ready. My squad leader, his name was Sergeant William Stacy, and he comes up to me and he says, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Well, I'm getting ready, I'm the point man." He was like, "Not today, you're gonna stay on base." Will, the squad leader, ended up running point for that patrol, role that I normally took. And he stepped on IED on that patrol.
When he got back from Afghanistan, he had PTSD. His injuries are not outwardly physical. He's not missing a leg. It's internal, and a lot of people do not understand that.
What I experienced most was an overwhelming sense of guilt that I didn't get to do my job, that someone else had to do my job for me, and that it ended up, they lost their life because of it. So that first trip to Lourdes, I went as a pilgrim. And I went expressly for healing.
It was hard because in that moment of my faith, it wasn't as strong. We were just really hoping for a miracle.
To go to the baths is to experience a different type of prayer. It's not just getting dunked in water. It's a continuous prayer, and everyone there is praying for you.
You can say in sickness and in health, but until that happens, you don't realize your marriage can grow. We ended up right in front of the mural of Mary being crowned Queen of Heaven. We were offered to go and get our marriage vows renewed. It was a moment where we could just, guess what, I love you still, and I want to keep going through this life with you.
God consecrating our marriage again, it was him letting us know that his presence is real. So that was part of the healing for me. Throughout the Bible, everyone goes to a mountaintop to find a deeper connection with God. And Lourdes, it's a spiritual mountaintop. You can hear him speak to you, and you can speak to him as well.
In 2011, the Gary Sinise Foundation began raising funds to build computer-equipped, custom smart homes for America's severely wounded heroes. Sinise became a natural partner for the Knights, ensuring that the homes our heroes come back to are worthy of their sacrifice.
We have also continued our partnership with the Gary Sinise Foundation to build computer-equipped custom smart homes for America's severely wounded heroes. And during this fraternal year, we will provide a new smart home for U.S. Army Captain Luis Avila. Captain Avila, our nation and the Knights of Columbus. Salute you.
I remember first meeting you and Claudia at Walter Reed over 3 years ago, and it is a great honor to finally say, welcome home, my friend.
We have called this the road to freedom. I was praying and praying how I was going to provide for my family and how I was going to have a place to call home.
We call these forever homes.
This house was designed specifically for his needs and the needs of this family, and given to them by the Gary Sinise Foundation, supported by Knights of Columbus, and it's going to make a difference in this family's life for forever.
Definitely this home is going to restore Luis' independence, your pride, your mobility, and your safety. Not only Luis, but all our family.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you for everything.
From
the bottom of my heart. I love you.
Knights have served in the armed forces for more than a century, from the trench warfare of the First World War to the modern war on terror. At West Point, cadets and brother knights look to the future with a common purpose.
I have a mission at the United States Military Academy to educate, train, and inspire the next generation of young men and women to go in the Army. The Army's here for the entire United States of America to defend the Constitution, and the Knights of Columbus are here to stand up and defend the faith. And so in that ways, they're similar, that we know what we're about, and there's a defined structure that helps you do it.
Having spiritual brothers, I think, is critical to living out my faith. I like to refer back to the verse from Proverbs as iron sharpens iron, so does one man sharpen another. I think the brotherhood that is experienced in the Knights is because we have a common mission, and we also have a common mission in the military.
The word knight has a certain military expression to it by its very nature. And so the brotherhood in the Knights of Columbus and the brotherhood in the military shares that aspect. The sense of serving something bigger than ourselves is the military's goal. The Knights of Columbus serve something bigger than ourselves. It serves God and the church. But by serving God and the church, it also serves our country. I firmly believe that the best servants of our country are those people deeply moved by religious faith.
I look at Medal of Honor recipients who were chaplains, and all 9 of them happen to be Catholic. So for me, I want to do my best to try and fill those shoes as to what it meant to live selflessly. So I want to try and emulate that spirit to the best of my ability.
When Father McGivney founded the Knights of Columbus, he turned to veterans to be the first leaders of the new organization. These men understood the vocation to fraternity, the importance of unity, and the virtue of self-sacrifice. Today, more than ever, society needs an organization comprised of strong men and strong families who understand that unity, fraternity, and service are the foundation of a strong community. Men and their families who understand that patriotism is lived daily, tested regularly, and shines forth brightly regardless of conflict or confrontation. Men and their families who give of themselves willingly for the good of their neighbor and expect nothing in return except the hope that they themselves will be helped should the need arise. Those are the values we see lived every day by those who serve in our armed forces, and those are the values aspired to by the Knights of Columbus. Together, let's drive forward into the future on this common mission.